Police and Fire Commission meeting, recorded April 4, 2024.
So we will do that. It's April 4th, special date because of the election. We moved it to a Thursday. It's 2 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is roll call. Candy, please call the roll.
Kirschling.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Rozak. Here. Ostrowski.
Here.
Zenner.
Here. Everyone is here and accounted for. Second item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from last month's meeting. You have those. Any questions, comments, or motion?
Motion to approve as submitted.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second by Morozek.
Second by Morozek. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Minutes are approved. Item number 3 is the confirmation of the bills. Mr. Ostrowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reviewing, first one up is the police department. Nothing jumps out other than to say training, uniforms, and gas and electric are the major share of our bills. I mean, it eats up probably 40-50% of the expense, all of which we can't do without. And looking on to their overall budget, they're fine in line, only used up 20% of their budget, so they're doing fine. Moving on to the fire department after that, it's unusual as they're not the highest. They're definitely in line. Nothing there jumps out other than they had two got bit real strong by gas and electric, which we can't do without. Some relighting of some necessary electrical repairs added to the expenses also. They show on the overall that they're 44% used. That's not really true. There's a credit into general fire equipment that would reduce that back in line. They are down at 25%, I believe.
It would be, we have 73% remaining in the budget, which puts us
Okay.
right on line, so a 27% use.
Right, which is more in line. And then flipping over to the ambulance service for the month, the big expense there was the image trend, which is hosting. Joe, can you explain what that is?
Am I supposed to come up here?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
I've only been here like 12 years. I have no idea what I'm doing on any given day. So the image trend expense is a computer-based report writing. We call it patient care reports. That's what we utilize for our ambulance runs.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I would really like it to come from you. So with that, I see nothing wrong with their budgets, and I would make a motion to approve as submitted.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second.
Kirschling, second.
Okay, we have a second. I do have a question for Chief. I've noticed that with the cost of heating and utilities going up, has anyone spoken to Public Service to see if they could come and do an examination of this building to figure out if there's any ways we can save money?
We reached out to Focus on Energy to do that for
Excellent.
us.
And do you have a timeline of when that's going to happen?
They already came and looked once, but the windows are definitely not something that we can change.
Sure.
But other than that, they are going to just let me know what the next steps are.
Very good. Thank you very much for doing that. Any other questions or comments about the budget? Confirmation of bills. Seeing none, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Bills have been confirmed. Moving on. Agenda item number 4 is Officer Jaden Solis off of probation, April 1st, 2024. Chief.
Yes, really quickly, I'm going to have Lead Officer Solis actually stand up to the microphone. At our last PFC meeting, a request was made to start having individuals that are getting off probation come here to meet all of you in person. So I'm just going to kind of talk about the letters that were received to me from the lieutenants that oversaw Jaden. You had received these in your packet as well. From Lieutenant Brian Brooks, he states Officer Solis has quickly established himself as an eager learner with clear career goals. Officer Solis has made it clear that his desires to become a supervisor, an FTO, and an instructor in the department. Since learning that, he has been accepted as our next lead officer. firearms instructor, and a field training officer. Officer Solis has already jumped on learning things about these positions even prior to attending the schools or the training. Officer Solis has demonstrated maturity and common sense on the job, as well as the ability to handle stressful situations. And then the other lieutenant that was overseeing him was Lieutenant Michael Long. Mike Long says during the 18 months with our department, Officer Solis has consistently shown exemplary performance in his execution of his duties. His overall enthusiasm in developing his skill sets and well-being of the department have always been very evident. And obviously, they're both recommending that he be placed on permanent status effective as of April 1st, 2024. I can't say anything but great things about Officer Solis and the roles he's taken on already. So he is here, and so he can introduce himself, and if you guys have any questions for him, you can ask him.
Is there something you'd like to say to us?
I want to say thank you for just accepting me here, for hiring me. I know it kind of runs through you guys as well, so I appreciated the opportunity and striving to be the best.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the commission?
No other than say welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Very good.
What shift are you assigned to as lead officer?
Permanent nights.
Okay.
And he came here with experience to us.
Chief, you don't need a motion or anything from us, do you?
A motion to accept him into permanent status.
Do we
as of
have
April
that?
1st.
Make a motion to accept Officer Solis to permanent status, post dated April 1st, 2024.
Very good. Do we have a second?
Second, Marozek.
Second by Morozic. Any further questions or comments from the commission? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Jaden.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, for bringing them forward.
Absolutely.
It's a very good thing.
Hey, where's he going? He's supposed to stay here for the whole thing.
Did you hear him? He works night shift.
He's got work to do. Agenda item number 5, approval of the 2023 Stevens Point Police Department Annual Report to be published. In front of you, you have the published copy of this that was done. You should have received email of it a couple of weeks ago. I've gone through it and think it is done. It's a very nice layout, very complete. And if is there anything you would like to add that the public would like to know, that a couple of things? Otherwise, it's going to be available for the public on the city website, and you'll be able to have access to it at any time. It's a pretty complete report about what our Stevens Point Police Department is all about.
The only thing I'd like to say is this is put together with everybody here at the Stevens Point Police Department. They give me a lot of this data, and then I organize it, and then Candy actually develops this for us. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody at the PD, because everybody is involved in developing this.
Very good. Yeah, it's a very nice report. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, I'll just second that. It's very well put together, very informative. Nice work for everybody that was involved.
Do you need approval to publish?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and publish the report as it is.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Anyone else? Comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving right along. Agenda item number 6 is the police chief's report. Chief.
Yes, I'm going to start off with something very, very neat for here at the police department. As we're all aware, April 7th of 2023, we had an officer-involved shooting. I had been contacted by the Wisconsin Professional Police Association's Awards Committee, and I'm very, very proud to say that lead officer Alex Beach, who was involved in the shooting, and officer Zachary Gartman, they have been awarded the 2024 Award of Valor through the WPPA. And the thing that's really neat about all this as well is it's just not the two individuals that are involved in the shooting, but the entire shift that has to come together during this. And the WPPA Awards Committee also selected Lieutenant Brian Brooks, Sergeant Andrew Paschal, Officer Kimberly DeRoser, and Officer Cody Stankowski to receive the WPPA's 2024 Team Award, which is that entire shift. So on April 27th, Myself, Assistant Chief Williams, and the entire crew are going down to the Kalahari, and they're going to be receiving those awards for their actions from April 7th of 2023. So, to go on, one of the things that obviously we're trying to do is we're trying to promote the Stevens Point Police Department, and I reached out to Lieutenant Johnson for a lot of things. He's our PIO. He's also the individual that goes to all the job fairs. And with the help of Sarah in the back, we had asked them to create something that we can hand out to everybody at a job fair, and you've got those in front of you. But it is a pamphlet that was made and designed and put together with Sarah and Lieutenant Johnson, and it's something that we can hand out when we go to the high schools, we can go to the job fairs at the technical colleges and the regular colleges. So again, I think it was well done, and it's just another opportunity for us to hand out to people that are interested in law enforcement. On March 4th, Officer Clayton Madison Dawson started with the Stevens Point Police Department. In March, Lieutenant Johnson started meeting with Gamber Johnson, and it's about an organization that's called National Night Out, and it's an event that's going to be taking place here on August 6th. And Gamber Johnson, along with Wisconsin Rapids Rafters, are going to be partnering with the Stevens Point Housing Authority and the Stevens Point Police Department and for this event. It's going to take up by Madison Elementary off of Red Arrow. It's going to be a free event for everybody. It's going to have food, games, and music, and then it's going to be followed by a free trip to the baseball game in Wisconsin Rapids. And so that's really kind of a neat thing that we're going to be doing for the community here. Right now, we have a hiring process that is open for 3 positions. We all know that Lieutenant Moss retired in January. Officer Christy Arns is going to be retiring July of 2024, and I actually just received a resignation letter from Officer Zachary Gartman, and he is resigning November 30th of 2024 to focus in on law school to get out of law enforcement altogether. And that is it.
Thank you very much. I'll make a motion to accept the report and place it on file.
Kirschling, no, go ahead.
Second.
Seconded by Ostrowski. Comments or questions? I noticed, Chief, that we're still a few men short, a few bodies.
We are. Again, we're in the process right now. We're looking to hopefully hire 2 or 3 out of this. We're just in the receiving application process at this point.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'd like to just comment, it seems like you guys are running into more and more violent situations, and I'd truly like to comment that as a citizen as well as a commissioner, I'm so proud of this department. They've handled it so professionally, but it's showing that small towns are no different. Thank you for your services.
Absolutely, and I'll pass that along because I too am extremely proud of our patrol and our detectives. They've obviously had a lot of cases here in the last month, and they've all done phenomenal, and the overtime that they've worked to get to solve these crimes have been incredible too. So,
any further comments or questions? We have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Police Chief's report is accepted. Agenda item number 7, discussion with possible action to approve AC Gemza to attend National EMS Summit being held in Tucson, Arizona. Only if he stays.
In Arizona?
You got me, I'm there.
So Assistant Chief Gemza has been invited to an EMS summit, which is going to be taking place May 13th through the 15th in Tucson, Arizona. It is a national conference that brings all of the EMS chiefs together that are about the size of Stevens Point to talk about what's working in today's day and era when it comes to EMS and what's not working and how to improve our programs throughout the nation. This has been 100% fully funded. And is going to be paid for. Our only problem with this is there is no at the end of the conference, there is no way to get Chief Gemza out on an airplane that night. We can't get him out till the next day. And so there's going to be an extra hotel expense that I wrote a requisition letter for out-of-state travel to the Personnel Committee about as well, explaining the situation where everything is 100% funded except for that one-night stay due to the air travel issue. And so I'm bringing it in front of the Police and Fire Commission as well for action on allowing him to go to this conference and us obviously having to pay for that one-night stay. Now, again, annually, we have a budget. Commissioner Ostrowski looks that over when it comes to training and travel, and when it relates to education, including fire and EMS, educational activities, safety-related courses, and professional organizational annual conferences. We have a budget for that. It's within the budget, and so I'm bringing it forward in front of all of you today.
So Chief, just a question. When it says the city cost, is it for that additional one night out of your budget or through the city?
No, it's through the fire department, or through the EMS budget, through our training and educational line items. It'll be through our department's budget.
If it's already, is this something that's not budgeted, or do you just need?
It's already budgeted. What it is it's out-of-state travel, and it's last minute, so I need approval from both the PFC and from the Personnel Committee for that out-of-state travel approval for that funding.
Okay. It's been a long time since I've done one of these, so I just kind of forgot.
By city policy,
Yep.
if it is in Minneapolis or Chicago, there's no need to have any prior approval. Within the fire department, we've taken that one step further to say if it's an attached state, Michigan, Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, again, no need. But when it's outside of that and not attached, it's out-of-state travel, we still need that approval, even though it's been budgeted for.
Sure.
I'll make a motion to approve AC Gemza to attend the National EMS Summit held in Tucson, Arizona, as well as for the department to pay for the extra hotel room, the extra night for
Extra night.
hotel.
I would second that.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, this still needs to be approved by personnel or finance?
Personnel.
Personnel then, after
Yes.
this. Okay, as long as we're clear. Any other?
It's on the Personnel Committee agenda for Monday night.
Okay, very good. Any other comments or questions? Everybody got it? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Good luck. Agenda item number 8, after action report on the December 30th incident by City Emergency Management. Chief.
So on December 30th, we had a, what I'll call a multiple incidences within the county in a short time frame that taxed all of the resources here in Portage County when it came to fire, EMS.
Do you want to describe what that incident was a little bit for everybody? Are you
I'm
going to get
going to
there?
actually let him explain all
Okay.
of that. So
You come over here.
he's got an after-action report he's going to be passing out to all the commissioners. And then Justin Malin, as our emergency management coordinator for the city, working within the fire department, will be explaining
Thank you, Chief.
the actual situation and then the responses that we had within that time period and what the after-action looked like, putting all of these agencies together in one room to discuss what we've learned and where we're going to go from here.
Floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so on, the event took place December 30th, 2023. We're calling it the ICE event. On February 28th, 2024, I conducted a after-action review that was held at our Stevens Point Transit Building to discuss the related, or the events that happened and took place that day. With that, agencies that were in attendance were the Stevens Point Fire Department, Portage County Emergency Management, Portage County Highway Department, Amherst Fire, Stockton Fire Department, Dewey Fire Department, Portage County EMS, Portage County Sheriff, Aspirus Hospital. And then just to recap a little bit on the incident, on December 30th, 2023, between 1645 and 1900, Portage County 911 Communication Center received 127 calls for assistance, which created 27 CAD calls, which was a lot for them within that short period of time.
Deputy Fire Marshal Malin, could you explain what a CAD call is?
Sure. CAD call would be, so when you call for help and assistance is needed, then an incident or a CAD call would be created, and agencies would be dispatched to respond to that call that was created. So
it's a 911 call for service?
yes.
Thank you.
And it's, CAD in this instance is computer-assisted dispatch, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
During that time, there were 10 injuries that were reported and 1 fatality. And the hospitals that Aspirus Pulver, 2 patients were transported. Marshfield Medical River Region, 2 were transported. And then Aspirus Hospital in Stevens Point, 5 patients were transported during that period of time. And the calls were generated due to the freezing drizzle that caused the roadways to be very slippery during that time. The weather that day, it was forecasted to be kind of foggy and a little bit of freezing drizzle. The National Weather Service did issue a few notices or statements out throughout the day, just kind of advising that. And then at 5:52 p.m. that day, the National Weather Service issued a winter weather advisory for all of central Wisconsin. So it was, in a way, it kind of caught, with the freezing drizzle, it kind of caught everybody off guard. In the report that I provided, you'll see a timeline of the CAD events that were created. And then you also see the evaluation of all the agencies involved and some of the comments on what worked well, what didn't, and what they thought could be improved. And then as a summary, collectively as a group, identified that communication is one area that needs to be improved. I went on to break down what that would look like as far as communication. Some examples of that would be looking at how and the tools that we communicate, additional support, and then looking at how we communicate or provide information to the public. With that, I recommend doing a tabletop exercise sometime in spring or summer of 2025 as a multi-agency exercise, and I'll be working with our partners to get that set up at that time. Are there any questions?
I do.
Go ahead, Denise.
I'm curious, since this has been brought over the emergency management to the fire department, I mean, this is pretty impressive, everything that's put together here, to give us a really good understanding. Has anything of this ever been created prior to this? I mean, with the city, prior to you guys taking it over? Because this is very laid out here.
Can I jump in on this?
Sure.
Since he's taken over as emergency manager, he's done an incredible job, phenomenal job with getting all the departments together to be on one page. I will answer that. It has not been happening in the city at all. Even for the USGA that we had last year, we had requested assistance from the emergency manager at the time and did not get any from the city. And that's when the decision was made to move it along to somebody that knows exactly what they're doing. And so Malin has been doing just phenomenal since he's taken over that position.
As another example, just Tuesday night during the polling and the voting, there were some electrical outages throughout the city at different polling areas.
Another crappy weather event.
Emergency management was contacted. The emergency management department within the city was spun up. He was boots on the ground till 8 o'clock at night or later. There was direct communications with me, with the mayor. The city fire department was out providing generators to different locations, making sure everything was on emergency backup systems, and making sure that we were moving forward with things like this when it comes to emergency management within the city. So again, I will echo what Chief Kuso said. It has not been happening in the past. It is happening now, and it is very successful, and we have the right person for the job.
And my understanding is, too, is of your 40 hours per week, 1/4, 10 hours is, I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking just, I think it's
Guessing it's
really,
probably more than that.
right, it really has to be, I think this has to be brought through, and maybe, our liaison, Mary, can bring this really to the city's attention of what your job entails, and really making them aware too, because I can't see right now that, you're exceeding that. That 10 hours is supposed to be dedicated just once, 10 hours a week. I'm just very impressed, and I think that this is probably a discussion that needs to be brought up a little bit more, of the complexity and the responsibilities that are with your job.
Thank you. And thank you for the kind words, Chief.
Chief, one comment here, I'm looking down this list. I assume in your tabletop you would include people from the dispatch center also,
Yes. Yep.
because I got to believe they had to be pulling their hair out during that time period. I mean, they responded well, but in order to get this working right, they're an integral part.
Yes, absolutely. So once I key in on the type of event, we're going to be doing a tabletop exercise on all the agencies will be involved, including our 911 communication dispatch center. And they were also present when we did the after-action review.
And I like that you're going to bring it back.
The only question I have is, why are you waiting till 2025 for the tabletop?
I have a very full plate, and we have a lot of stuff coming up that,
It's what the calendar allows?
yes.
Okay, understandable. Just curious.
And some of that will be explained a little bit later on in the fire report, or fire chief's report, of some of what emergency management is now doing within the organization, and where his plate is and what he's actually already accomplished this year.
Very good.
I'd just like to add on this. This has definitely been a blind spot that the city has had for an extended period of time. I can't say anything more than that's already been said, but I would like to bring up Chief Moody. Congratulations. You spearheaded this and securing it in the fire department. Well done. And hopefully we see these more in the future, and hopefully this gets passed on to the other alders.
Thank you.
And not leaving it up just to Mary to take care of that, so.
If it's included in the minutes of the meeting and through the consent agenda, I'll make sure to say something to draw people's attention to the report in the minutes of the meeting.
Very good.
Yeah, that would be nice if they can have this, because I think all the alders, and I think even the city leaders should have it.
And it will be in the minutes because it was introduced today as record.
Correct.
So she'll have it in there, and it'll be in the package.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make sure that people are aware that it's something they need to look at,
Thank you.
that they should look at.
It's a very good thing. Thank you very much. Mr. Malin, do you have anything else for us?
No, thank you. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for your work.
Thank you.
All right, I don't believe we need any action on that, so we'll move on to agenda item number 9, which is the fire chief's report, EMS report.
All right. I know that last month there were several questions regarding the continuum report and what each incident type meant. And I didn't want to give you false information, because depending on how we respond, what we find when we respond, it can all be coded differently. So I did reach out to Assistant Chief Zavara, and he did provide that information. Was there anybody who did not get it or has any questions or follow-up questions? Okay. Seeing none, also would like to bring up that Chief Lasky was here this last month, a national renowned speaker when it comes to the fire service. Great job providing pride and ownership discussions with our membership at Mid-State Technical College. We had our officers meeting again this morning from 8 till noon. And during that 4-hour meeting, I don't know how many times I heard pride and ownership in the fire service and where our department wants to go and what we learned from that event. So well worth it. We had some key sponsors to be able to afford someone like that coming in and speaking to an organization. So it went really well. Next month, we will be bringing our annual report forward for approval to be submitted and published as well. I know, talking with Chief Cuso, I knew the police departments was coming forward this month, so we will be doing ours next month. Also, you can see a lot of public activities, and it's not even Heart Month in February. It's not EMS Week or EMS Month in May, and it's not Fire Prevention Month in October. But our people are out there doing public activities. So we're out in the public's eye. We continue to keep moving forward with those things. Continuum. Again, I'd just like to point out, and I don't have the reason. The members that are boots on the ground, on the line, who are running these 911 calls, don't have the answers, but I would just like to point out that we are 57.51% up on our call volume this year alone. Last year, we were up 17% on fire calls and 11% on EMS calls to hit 5,538 calls for service last year. This year, we are already up 57.51%. We are projected to hit over 6,000 calls for the year with ease. And I just don't have that answer. But the data's here. The data doesn't lie. Another thing is we have also, within our firehouse, when you walk in the front door, the firehouse is a public building. And when we bring the public in and they meet with the shift commander or the lieutenant who's in charge of that house, we have now put a TV screen up in that main entryway. And Continuum is consistently playing there. And it's showing the public what we're doing, what types of calls we're going on, what apparatuses are going, what apparatuses are the busiest, what time of the day is the busiest, the percentage of calls that are up. We are providing all that data to our community, and all they have to do is walk through the door, and it's all there. We're explaining it to people when they walk in, and it's been a very successful tool for us as people have come in and wanted tours or asked questions about the upcoming referendum. We can show them all of this. And it's been a really good tool. Chief Zavara has kind of spearheaded getting the TVs set up. We've worked with IT and getting everything dropped in. And firefighter paramedic Ronsky is actually working on the backside of Continuum and actually running this data for us. On the EMS side of the house, we continue, like I said, with those public activities, hands-only CPR events. We've been over doing firefighter challenges with the schools. Again, we've been bringing in and doing pub ed, not only during those certain months, but when those times allow. And we've been continuing to go out to career fairs and explain to people what the Stevens Point Fire Department is about. what our vision is, what our mission is, what we're doing in the community. And it's been very successful, and as of recently, we just went to the career fair at Spash. Again, in that monthly EMS report, you can see our numbers are up and where we're going. And then as far as emergency management is concerned, we have now incorporated, again, emergency management into the firehouse. We have the coordinator for the city. He has been providing me an updated list of what he's doing monthly, what are quarterly expectations, and what we have planned for the year. Like everybody has already said, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you, but we found the right person for the job, and we are moving forward at a pace that I can't keep up with right now. So it's a great thing. Some of the things that are being spearheaded by our emergency management coordinator, again, only 10 hours a week. 1 day a week they're working on this, and I don't know how he's getting it all done. He has been working with all of the department heads and coordinating incident command system training, ICS training, for our members within the city. So if a situation were to occur, how do we all plug and play into that system? We are working with not only our departments and our department supervisors and department heads, but we're also working with our elected officials as well. And we're getting them trained to a certain level. And eventually, that's going to come to the commission as well, just like it's coming to our alders, our city attorney, and others. So that is being moved forward. Another big thing that has changed to have continuity within the city, the county, and the university that we work with so closely in Stevens Point. All three emergency management directors or coordinators have been meeting now monthly. Our city EM, our county EM, and the university emergency management coordinator have all been meeting monthly. And if one of them are out of town, or if somebody's not able to be at something, they're working together to facilitate things throughout the county and consistently, whether that's county, city, or on the university grounds. So it's been working really well. And the last big thing that we're pushing right now is state of Wisconsin YCAM cards. And what this is it's a multifunctional tool. First, it identifies an individual with a photo ID. It talks and explains information that person is qualified to be able to handle and do if they have to go into a multi-operational period. Multi-operational period being more than a 12-hour incident and maybe not being in the city, or maybe it is in the city and we're bringing agencies in from outside the city or outside the county. We know what they're qualified to do. It also has the ability to scan people in and track them so that when we go to collect all this data, to be able to decide if this is a local incident, a state incident, a federal incident, and how we're going to be reimbursed and how we're going to be funded. All of that is tracked. And in the past, not all of our departments and not all of our organizations have had these. Not only is every city employee, full-time and part-time, going to be issued one, again, through our emergency management coordinator, but we've also already started an onboarding process that is already in effect with new policies, and I believe the first one was this last week, conducted by HR. So if you are a new employee in the city, HR will handle it. If you are a previous employee or a prior employee, EM is going to take care of coordinating these things. So when we have a multi-operational period, incident or event, if we need to prepare for things, everybody has these cards. Now, somebody might say, well, what if you forget it? Or what if you do this? Or what happens if? We've already built in a backup system, and our EM coordinator will have a binder with each department and a copy of this card to be able to use to keep the system up and running if we were to have a failure at some point due to operational error or personal error. So, a lot going on within the city when it comes to EM. Again, 1 day a week, and I've already been in the bureau talking to his supervisor, the division chief, and him personally, and making sure that we still have other roles and responsibilities within the firehouse too that we have to get done. But again, commending them in what they're getting done and accomplished on a weekly or even a daily basis. So just some of the big things rolling out with EM as of the first of the year this year.
Chief, are we keeping track, because I'm always a data-driven person, for the hours, the actual hours, because again, I know it's more than 10 that Justin's spending on this. Do we have that data to be able to, because the city pays the 1/4 of the salary for, correct? And then with the actual hours that are being spent on this, I'm just really curious to see how that math is working out.
So this, I'm going to back up here a little bit and explain this. The salary that this individual was supposed to receive initially was going to be posted prior to him taking the position. The city is not paying 1/4 of the salary. They are paying an EM stipend, which we've rolled into that salary. I asked for prior to posting this position, knowing that if we posted it with that little extra incentive, we would get a better qualified candidate, which we did. And so the city is paying a stipend towards this. The actual salary, or a majority of the salary, I'll call it probably 7/8 of the salary, is actually being funded by the fire department. But we agreed to, with that stipend, they would work 10 hours a week on that role or responsibility.
See, I just think that this is something that needs to come back to the city. I mean,
It eventually is going to, because I can tell you right now, excuse me, there's a need, there's a want by departments. There is, we have definitely seen already improvements and where we're moving forward. And eventually, I've got some ideas,
Okay.
but we aren't there quite yet. You know, one of the other big things EM Malin is working on is the basement of the transit building is actually our city EOC center. And that has never been set up or established. We have already got, we have coordinated already cubicles. We are looking at desks. We've already got chairs coming. He is in the process of writing a grant to fully fund and set up that basement to be an actual functioning EOC, that when we have that call out, we can just drop in and it's ready to go.
Just for everybody, EOC is Emergency Operations Center, like the hub of where everything takes place during a critical incident.
So we are working on that as well. But I've told him we need to be tracking those hours in use and how many hours we're actually using of his during the week to actually work on emergency management product for the city.
Yeah, I think that'd be a thing that should on a regular basis or more regular basis, if it's the data's there, to bring it forward to the PFC so that we're aware of it and we're kind of in, talks about that. I have two more things that I want to comment on, where you said that you're unaware of where the increase in calls are coming from. As far as the uptick, do we keep track of age-related?
Yes.
Because, are we seeing something shifting with?
I guess I shouldn't say I don't know where the calls are coming from, because we can pinpoint age or who's calling within a few years, and
Okay.
you'll see that in our annual report,
Okay.
like the demographics of who's calling, what age group. We can pinpoint what types of call or why they're calling, like we talked about service calls in months prior. We can pinpoint, gravity being one of those big issues. And with the aging population, not only in the city, but in the county, in our community, just going and helping those people up. Again, that need for the call out because my smoke detector battery is not appropriate, or I need my CO detector checked, or I need this. We're going and doing those things. We can pinpoint what those calls are for, but it's just that shift in society. It's the changing of the demographics and the age in society. There's a lot of things involved, and when you really try to put it down, it's just, there's a lot involved of why those changes are occurring.
And the other thing I wanted to comment on, and I don't know whose idea this was, but I think it's phenomenal, is on the website is the little short bio that's starting to come up of the fire department. I think that's a really good thing for anyone, if they haven't taken a look at that, to go out there, because I think it's just a real good way to start connecting too with, who works there, and put a name to, a face. And so again, I don't know whose idea that was, but I think that
It was a group effort.
Okay.
And I will tell you that everybody has participated in providing us the information. The two division chiefs, Division Chief Sinner and the Division Chief Ewing, are actually facilitating it. What we're doing is we're dropping out 2 members a week on key times out on the social media Facebook platform. And the big reason for that is I've been the chief of the Stevens Point Fire Department a little over 2 years now. We have a house of 46 people. I have hired 23 of the 46 people. We have a completely new department. Half the department has less than 2 years of service. And I think it's important that not only are we out there serving the community, but the community knows who we are. So I appreciate that, and we will continue to move that forward. The plan is to introduce every person on every crew, and then we're going to turn around and do it for our management staff, and I will be the last person introduced as the chief of the department.
And I'd be interested at the year end to see where we are with our followers on that page, right?
From start to finish.
That's what I would be interested in too.
Thank you.
Chief, a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
First of all, Assistant Chief Genza knows this is a big item for me for several years, and that's the ambulances. I looked down at one of the ambulances, Med 3. Is it really 857,000 miles on that vehicle?
No.
No.
Thank God.
No kidding.
I added an extra 8, should be about 87.
Okay, thank you. But, Joe, you know what I'm talking...
We were going to, somebody was going to, I always throw those out there, like Taylor Swift.
Well, you know where I come from, because a number of years back, that number would have probably been legit,
Would have been true.
No,
the way it was going, and I wanted to make sure we're not falling back into
no,
that.
the ambulances are ordered, and we talked about it, remember we talked about it. They're ordered, we're just waiting we're waiting on the companies to have the products to get them, but the county's done everything we needed for the ambulance.
Thank you.
Most likely get them in 2025, the way it's looking right now.
Okay, thank you. That's a big on thing for me. And for you, Chief, with the new equipment, with all the people and everything, are there any plans being laid out for larger facilities for our 2 firehouses? Because I have been in there, and when you got to back bumpers one under the other, and the number of people we're expecting, is there any talk to planning for expansion or enlargement?
So if we are successful with the referendum at the end of the year, there would be no expansion for the, what I will call the house side of the fire facilities with the 2 stations that we currently have. We will be able to facilitate the needs of our personnel within those 2 stations. When it comes to the apparatuses and the expansion of the fire and EMS services within the city of Stevens Point into the future, yes, we do have plans. We already have blueprints drawn up for a Station 3 or a regional training site down at the training center. And we have a schematic or rough blueprints of a Station 4 that would be located somewhere on the east side of the city. Those apparatuses we already have in play within the 2 stations that we currently have. And we would see then our apparatus bay go back to an actual standard of what the emergency services is supposed to be providing right now versus where we're at with everything cramped in.
Thank you, Chief, because that's a concern for me. You know, if we got the equipment, but we don't have the right facilities to house them in, that's a problem.
And we are looking at that with capital improvement projects. We are looking at it with federal funded dollars. We are looking at it from multiple different avenues with multiple different organizations and people as well to help facilitate those things.
Thank you.
Chief, excuse me.
I do like that ringtone.
Yeah, well, it's kind of fun. It doesn't
Kind
happen.
of relaxes me.
Now that everybody knows what my ringtone is. I was going to ask, have you considered
On his way out.
an auxiliary like the police department has to take care of some of these non-emergency fire calls?
No, because of liability purposes and how that works out. We actually just had a conversation this morning with liability on what the fire side of the house and even what the EMS side of the house is doing and how that works for funding purposes. An auxiliary fire department is basically a truly volunteer organization or a volunteer fire department. There are very few of those organizations even left in Portage County.
I don't need a full explanation. I'm just saying that
We've looked at it.
they've done it, and they don't have liability issues for non-emergency things. I think it's something to consider in case the referendum doesn't go through, because if this continues to grow, you're going to need some help.
Right.
So that's all I'm trying to say.
Yes.
I'm not, just contingencies never hurt to have them in place.
And we've looked at there are a lot of options on the table if the referendum were not to be successful.
And that's good.
Yes.
Chief, I have a quick question under public education. What is, real brief, what is a swing and swath? What do you do when you swing and swath? Or sling and swath?
Sling and sloth. So what we would be doing is we're teaching our first aid and safety courses to, normally it's our Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, and what that is for a shoulder injury, an arm injury, or a fracture. What we would do is we would be using triangular bandages to basically put the first one over the neck to hold it in place, and then the second one across the chest to keep it from vibrating or moving out and bouncing around and causing more issues. So that's one first aid and safety thing that we teach those kids.
Got it, thank you.
Not a problem.
Any other questions for the chief on his report? Yes.
Just real quick on a couple. When we're talking about the incident calls that are increasing,
Yes.
is this pretty much just the medical side, the ambulance side, or are we seeing it all around?
Both sides of the house. And where you can see, even when we talk about fire calls, under the second page of Continuum, the number 1 fires, you can see it's up 85.71%. So it's both fire and EMS service calls that we're seeing an increase in.
And we've had quite a few fire bans, I believe, in the last month, and looking at what the third largest chunk of the pie unauthorized burns. Are we seeing that more related to the fire bans? I know we had an ordinance update last year. Are we responding to calls?
It's both.
Okay.
So,
How's that going, I guess?
So that, glad you brought it up. So there is that new ordinance out there that there is no burning of vegetation within the city of Stevens Point anymore. The only time that there is any type of burning within the city of Stevens Point is through a special permit through the Bureau within our organization. And so there's an educational piece with that when it comes to that change, but there also is just an increase in those types of fires because of the snow cover and what we've been dealing with. Was just at a seminar last week, and the DNR pointed out that last year at this time, as of last week, they only had 11 considered fires, and this year alone they've already had 346. So it's the difference in the environment right now and the climate that we're dealing with since the first of the year as well, and that I believe is a part of that part of the pie.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we need a motion to accept the report.
Kirschling make a motion to accept the fire chief's report and put it on file.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number 10, which is the President's report. Well, I don't have a whole lot to say other than it's been a long time. I've been working for the city as an alderman or on committees and commissions since 2000. So it's been 24 years. This is my last meeting as a police and fire commissioner. I have enjoyed working with all of you. I don't know some of you, but it's been a challenge. It's been a busy 3, 4, 5 years. Lots of stuff went on, and I thank all of you for helping us hold it together and move it into a better direction than where it was before. But with that, I thank you all. I've had a good time. I will miss parts of it, and I will not miss other parts.
Jerry, underneath the president's report, I'd like to speak if.
Go ahead, Joe.
And I want to personally thank you for all your service to the city. 24 years, it's a long time to essentially a volunteer. And I've really thoroughly enjoyed, and I mean this very sincerely, working with you on the commission. And we'll stay in touch.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Mr. Ostrowski.
As your backup for the last couple of years and as working with you for,
It's been a few now.
it's been a long time. And I want to say you've always handled yourself professional and you've always put the city first. And for that, I'm thankful. And to turn it not only into working with you, but turn it into an actual friendship, I really am honored. Thank you.
I'd jump in there, too.
Thank you.
I've had the honor to work with you when you were an alder, work closely as an alder. I had the opportunity to have you actually be my liaison as chief of police at this building, and now, how I never would have thought this would have happened, I would be as co-chair on the Police and Fire Commission Board. It's been an honor. You're a person that I never doubted your intentions, and you were consistent, and in many things that we have gone through some pretty ugly times at point. You were certainly a beacon in the fray, so appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
And, Jerry, I've worked with you for a couple of years here. I think you also stepping up to become president in a time of need when you had the experience behind you, and that really helped move us also forward as the PFC. you and I have butted heads on things in the past, but, you know, I think that we've always, at the end of our discussions, your heart's always been in the right place for what's good for the departments who oversee the city, so you will be missed.
Thank you, Denise. Well, very good. Thank you very much to everyone. God bless and Godspeed to everyone. And we are adjourned.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.